Morning. I'll just wait for your questions. I'm sure you have them.
NATO has major gaps when it comes to defending its eastern flank from air attacks. Is that the courage to leave gaps, or is it rather a problem?
NATO's aim is to strengthen our deterrence, and that's why we agreed last year in Vilnius on the new force model, and that's why in next month in Washington we will take further steps, and that's why the Ministers of Defense meet today. That is to meet really the requirements from NATO. All NATO allies have to step up. We've all increased our budgets, all invested in specific NATO capabilities, and also, of course, in air defense, and we're going to look at it today to prepare for the summit, and all of that is necessary. So yes, from the past we know that there are gaps, but we also know that we have to fill them and that we have a limited time.
You agreed on a NATO-led platform or framework for the military support for Ukraine. What is its added value?
Well, I think the added value is showing that this partnership that NATO has with Ukraine has meaning. It's also to assure that even if the war drags on over a longer period of time, we will be there to support them, and that we have a coordination mechanism amongst the NATO countries, as well as with other countries who want to join in, that will be in place no matter what happens.
Is this new framework also needed to make this military support for Ukraine also kind of Trump-proof?
I think it's to make it proof to any situation. I think it's what we have shown is from ad hoc bilateral aid to coordinated aid within the UDCG to more structured aid in the form of this coordination mechanism. And I think that is necessary because we have to consider the fact that this might go on for years. So you want to have something in place that does not depend on specific persons, ministers or whoever, but a structure that works.
You're meeting in the nuclear planning group format later today. How concerned are you by Russia's nuclear posturing, and does NATO's position need updated in response to this?
I think that the nuclear rhetoric that we're hearing from the Kremlin is just that, rhetoric. At the same time, nuclear weapons is serious, and you shouldn't use them in this way, I think. We have nuclear capabilities as NATO. We take that very seriously. That's why we discuss it, review it, talk about it, check if everything in place. But we never would use it in that type of rhetoric that we're hearing from Russia.
I just want to ask about the G7 away from here, obviously, but how much of a difference will this 50 billion loan make for Ukraine? Can it make a difference?
Of course it does. I mean, Ukraine is getting military support, is getting financial support. It needs us to be able to continue to conduct this war. As the country is fighting, they're also developing their own defense industry, but at this point they will need our support.
You talked about a puzzle for the Patriot system. Did you solve the puzzle?
Well, I said we have all the pieces in place, and we have to make the puzzle. We're really, I'm very confident that we're able to do so because I've seen countries stepping forward. So I'm glad that we have the pieces now.
Also on Ukraine, like in concrete terms, what can they expect from NATO now before the summit?
Well, I think we had a very good meeting yesterday in the NATO-Ukraine Council. And I think as we are preparing for the summit, it's also, of course, about our support for Ukraine and especially about the path to membership, because it's not a question if they will become a NATO ally. It's only a question of when. So I think that Ukraine can leave Brussels confident towards Washington that we will have that same strong language on the membership path of Ukraine.
After Hungary got an opt-out on the NATO-led framework, what makes you so confident that there won't be any other countries also asking for an exemption?
We are 32 allies, and with 32 different governments, different parliaments. But at the same time, we are just that. We're allies. We're part of this alliance. We have to keep to the treaty, and we have to do what is necessary for that. And I think we have to be able to rely on each other to make that possible. And so far, we've been able to do just that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Someone added an extra zero on accident. Ladies and gentlemen. My name is William Blair. I'm Canada's Minister of National Defence. Today, we've gathered for our final meeting of the NATO Defence Ministers before the Washington Summit. And as we prepare for the summit, which will mark NATO's 75th anniversary, there is a strong, united sense of shared purpose and resolve. Yesterday, we spent a great deal of our discussion talking about Ukrainians' courageous fight against Russia, illegal and unjustified aggression, and our collective support for the work that they are doing. We are also, I'm able to share with you that Canada is increasing our presence in the alliance's eastern flank, where we lead NATO's multinational battle group in Latvia. The battle group plays a critical role in detecting and deterring threats, and to make our deterrence even stronger, we're working to scale up our multinational brigade, their 2-brigade size. As well, Canada is sending the HMS Charlottetown into the Mediterranean, where it's going to assume command of the standing NATO Group 2. Also able to share with colleagues some of the investments we're making through our new defense policy update, which will include a very strong upward projection of our defense spending so that we can meet our obligations to NATO and also to the defense of our own country. I'll take any questions you may have.
You agreed on a NATO-led framework for the military support of Ukraine. Did you do this to make the military support to Ukraine Trump-proof?
Well, first of all, I want to acknowledge the outstanding leadership of the United States and SAGU in particular in helping coordinate the support for Ukraine. But there was discussion on how greater coordination might be achieved through the new NATO arrangement, and so there was a discussion. I think it reflects our collective resolve to continue to do everything that is necessary to support Ukraine.
You mentioned that Canada is increasing its defense spending. Can you elaborate?
Yeah, actually, we just recently reintroduced our defense spending. There's a number of very significant investments I have to make for the defense of our continent and my own country. We are investing, for example, quite significantly in the high Arctic and building new capabilities there, new maritime sensors. But there's additional work that's been identified in that document. The document itself, in our most recent budget, shows a very strong upward projection of defense spending. And in fact, my defense spending budget will increase by 27% next year over this year. But Canada still has more work to do, and we are going to do that work. And we've begun the important processes of acquiring the additional capabilities that we require and that we require to meet NATO's requirements of us. And so we are proceeding with those. I believe it brings us inevitably to over 2% of defense spending, but I've got some work to do in order to be able to articulate that both to my own country and to our allies.
Canada was one of the G7 nations last night that agreed on this new loan for Ukraine. How much of a difference will this 50 billion make?
I think it's a clear articulation of what some of the needs that Ukraine has articulated to us. They do require certainty for planning, not just for the immediate response to the battlefield, but also the work that they're going to have to do in the coming years to ensure the security and integrity of their sovereign borders, and to undertake a strong period of reconstruction following the conflict. And so we have agreed that is what Ukraine requires, but there's still work to do among all the contributing members to make sure that we can meet that target.
When it comes to defending the NATO eastern flank from air attacks, NATO has major gaps. How do you want to solve these problems?
Well, that's part of the important work that we'll be doing today. The Supreme Allied Commander for Europe will be taking us through some of the requirements that will have to be provided in order to meet and close those gaps. It's an important investment. We all have a requirement to scale up our military production in each of our countries in order to meet those gaps. But I think the work is moving forward. I think the SACEUR has done some excellent work in helping to identify what needs to be done next, and we are all committed to making the requisite contributions to achieve the goal of closing those gaps and making sure that we're strong throughout the NATO alliance, and so that every inch of NATO territory can be properly defended.
And how long will this approximately take?
Well, we all feel a great sense of urgency to it. The world is changing rapidly, and what we are seeing is with the advent of new technologies, and as well with the aggressive action of adversaries, it does require a sense of urgency among us. I want to assure certainly my country that all of our allies feel that shared sense of urgency, and we've got work to do, and we're going to do it. Thank you very much, everyone. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. So as you probably know, today we are concentrating on the Washington summit. We have a couple of messages and the important things to discuss. First, from our side, from Estonian side, it is very important that we acknowledge that the financing at the moment needs to be increased, and we do not have enough funds and money in defense, and we do believe that 2% is not enough, and we need to go further from here. Estonian proposition has been that maybe we should think from 2.5%. Estonia is investing 3.4 this year, and in the upcoming year is more than 3%. So this is the first point. The second point, definitely, what is very, very important, that we will have an overview from the SACEUR, and we have to guarantee the executability of the regional plans. And this is why we see that there are some gaps, and to fill these gaps, Estonia has made a proposal together with the Baltic states that we have to deliver new capabilities, and this is why we have the initiative ACDC. It's not the metal band, it's a initiative called ACDC, and which is the Allied Capability Delivery Commitment. So we really hope that this will be also addressed in Washington final documents. And why we are doing that is very clear. Russia will not change. Russia's threat is increasing, and when we look also how much Russia is investing at the moment to defense, this year close to 9% of the GDP, then we all understand that when we put in comparison percent in NATO or 3.5% in Baltic states and Poland, then still we need to invest more. So these are the main messages, these are the main topics we have to discuss today and get also some results in order to be successful in Washington.
You agreed on a NATO-led framework for the military support to Ukraine. Did you do this to make the support Trump-proof?
Well, it is important that we continue supporting Ukraine, and we said already many months ago that we should invest at least 0.25% of all our GDP to Ukraine, which means that 99.75% will stay in the countries. So, and this 0.25 gives Ukraine the ability to fight with Russia. And when we take now the proposal from Jens Stoltenberg, then this is less than this 0.25. So we have to be very clear that when we want that Ukraine wins that war, then we need to invest more also into defense of Ukraine, and also give the message that they will be the members of NATO, because this is also part of deterrence measures.
The nuclear planning group is meeting today as well, and Putin is still threatening. How big is the danger? of a nuclear escalation.
Have you seen that Putin stopped endangering or stopped threatening Europe and allies? I'm not seeing that. He says all the time that when we do something, then this is an escalatory move. Every time he says that. But also Putin has to understand that we have the nuclear deterrence measures, and this is why we are coordinating also in nuclear group these messages.
Hungary got an opt-out for this NATO-led framework. What makes you so confident that there won't be any other allies following this example, wanting an opt-out too?
Well, of course, we have to understand that we are in the alliance because we like this as an alliance, and we like to make things together. And the point of being in the alliance is that when there is a threat to the alliance, then we will act one for all for one, by that principle. So this is why, of course, we have to understand that when we all are in this alliance, then we also accept the rules of the alliance.
It's the last meeting of the defense ministers before the summit. In concrete terms, what can Ukraine expect now from the allies before the summit?
Well, before the summit, we agreed basically in NATO-Ukraine mission. Of course, we've agreed that we will continue support, and we are discussing that how we can increase the training. So there are many things what we can still do more even before the summit. But of course, the main question still remains how the battlefield will be shaped before the Washington summit.
So no certain figures on some.
There are always some figures. Also yesterday we've heard from many countries. Also Estonia said that we've sent very quickly the Mistral air defense system. So this means that there are contributions constantly on daily basis. But we will not talk about many of them because these are the conditions we have agreed with Ukraine.
You mentioned training. We've heard from some allies discussion about training inside Ukraine, particularly from France. Are you disappointed that hasn't happened yet? Would you support it if it was announced?
To do that, we have to see what are the pros and cons. For me, it is important that we are sending the message that we are ready to train more Ukrainians and do that on every level. Train the trainers, train the deminers, train the troops. So this is all important. And how we do that, this is already a technical question. Will we do it in Poland or in Britain? This is, what we have to decide. But we've said in general, as a deterrence measures, that yes, we are ready to train and teach more. Thank you very much. I believe many ministers will have some words. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Yuri Kabakis, Minister of Defense of Luxembourg. Today we will be discussing how to reinforce our collective defense and deterrence. For Luxembourg, this is a very important. One of the main priorities, political and military priorities for us over the next years is to have our binational combat battalion together with Belgium. Of course, I have submitted recently to Parliament one of the most historic investments to support this binational battalion, investing in combat vehicles. We have adopted in government recently our plan how to get to 2%. Luxembourg is a very determined and engaged ally. It is very important that we also come to these 2%. In the past 10 years, we have more than tripled our defense investment. In the next 6 years, so by 2030, we will double this investment again, so we will get to the 2% by 2030. We will be investing in new territory as well. Integrated missile defense will be one of the many areas where it is important for us also to be investing together with our allies. So we have, I think, a good plan. I will be presenting that to our allies today. We will also continue to provide and step up capabilities as far as satellite communication is concerned. This already today, Luxembourg has added value in those capabilities to be able to put them at the disposal of our allies. So Luxembourg has come a long way. We have a long way to go, but we are very determined to get to our 2% by 2030 at least. Any help to Ukraine has not been calculated in there, so that will come on top, which means that we will get to our 2%, probably ahead of that as well, because continued assistance, military and financial assistance to Ukraine also for us is absolutely fundamental. Thank you very much.
Ich hoffe, es geht Ihnen wie mir. Ich freue mich auf den zweiten Tag hier in Brüssel. Wir haben gestern schon gut vorgelegt, als es um die Unterstützung der Ukraine geht, um die weitere. Wir bleiben fest beisammen in der Unterstützung für die Ukraine. Ich begrüße sehr unsere Überlegungen, die wir heute weiterführen werden zum Ausbau einer koordinierenden Rolle der NATO bei der Unterstützung der Ukraine, wenn es um Lieferung und Ausbildung geht. Das ist ein weiterer wichtiger Schritt. Heute wird es vor allem darum gehen, den NATO-Gipfel in Washington im Juli vorzubereiten. Und das gemeinsame Ziel war und ist, und das ist klarer denn je, die NATO wird sich und ist dazu aufgestellt, jeden Quadratzentimeter ihres Territoriums notfalls verteidigen zu können. Das muss klar sein, Abschreckung muss funktionieren, dafür muss jeder im Bündnis leisten. Die Lasten für unsere gemeinsame Verteidigung müssen fair verteilt sein. Da geht es um die Frage der Finanzen, es geht um die Kräfte, aber auch natürlich um die Fähigkeiten. All das ist zentral. Ich kann für Deutschland sagen, dass wir unsere Hausaufgaben machen. Sie wissen alle, wir erreichen dies Jahr das erste Mal seit mehreren Jahrzehnten das 2%-Ziel, sowie der Großteil übrigens der europäischen Alliierten der NATO. Ungefähr 20 von ihnen wollen und werden das 2%-Ziel erreichen. Und das ist eine wichtige Botschaft an alle NATO-Partner, aber natürlich gerade auch an unsere amerikanischen Alliierten. Europa liefert, Europa übernimmt seinen Teil der gemeinsamen Verantwortung. Aber natürlich sind die Verteidigungsausgaben nur ein Teil, nur eine Seite der Medaille. Wichtig ist, was ganz konkret für die Abschreckung und Verteidigung unseres Bündnisses zur Verfügung steht. Und bei den Verteidigungsplänen der NATO gehen wir mit der Bundeswehr, Sie wissen das, man kann fast sagen, all in. Deutschland hat zugesagt, dass im Ernstfall innerhalb von 10 bis 30 Tagen, also in den beiden höchsten Bereitschaftsstufen, 35.000 Soldatinnen und Soldaten eingesetzt werden können. Mit unserer Brigade in Litauen, die in 3 Jahren am Start sein wird, werden wir unseren Teil zum Schutz der Ostflanke beitragen. In der Ostsee übernehmen wir eine Führungsrolle bei der maritimen Übung Baltops, die jetzt angelaufen ist. Als Drehscheibe Deutschland haben wir in Zentrale eine wichtige Aufgabe im Bündnis übernommen. Der Operationsplan Deutschland, den wir fertiggestellt haben, ist dafür die Grundlage. Klar ist aber auch, und das wird heute auch Thema sein, Abschreckung und Verteidigung brauchen zwingend eine starke wehrtechnische Industrie. Und in Europa herrscht durch den Angriffskrieg Putins gegen die Ukraine eine neue Situation. Die Friedensordnung ist bedroht. Fähigkeitslücken können wir uns in dieser Phase nicht erlauben. Deswegen widmen wir uns heute eben auch hier auf dem Treffen der Stärkung der transatlantischen industriellen Basis. Es geht also um die NATO Industrial Capacity Expansion. Wie können wir besser gemeinsam planen, entwickeln und beschaffen als NATO-Partner? Auch da sind wir eindeutig mit vorne dabei durch unsere European Sky Shield Initiative, aber auch den Plan mit Norwegen zusammen gemeinsame U-Boote zu bauen. Mit unseren Ostseepartnern verständigen wir uns auf die gemeinsame Beschaffung einer Ostseemine. Auch da sind wir unterwegs. Bei der Munitionsbeschaffung haben wir durch unsere Rahmenverträge die Türen weit aufgemacht, auch für andere Partner und Alliierte. Gemeinsam mit Partnern werden wir, auch das ein ganz wichtiges Zeichen in diesen Zeiten, werden wir neue Flugzeuge für die NATO-Luftraumüberwachung beschaffen. Sie sollen so schon, wie schon die AWACS in Geilenkirchen betrieben werden. Eine ganz wichtige kollektive Fähigkeit für die NATO. Insgesamt zeigen wir dadurch, dass wir unsere Verantwortung wahrnehmen, dass sich die Menschen in Deutschland im NATO-Gebiet angesichts wachsender Bedrohung sicher fühlen können. Wir tun alles, um das zu gewährleisten. Das kostet Geld. Das kostet Zeit, das kostet Kraft, es kostet aber auch den Mut, auch mal um die Ecke zu denken oder auch unbequeme Entscheidungen zu treffen. Dazu ist Deutschland bereit und dazu bin auch ich bereit, meine Damen und Herren. Ich freue mich heute auf die Beratung. Erlauben Sie mir noch eine Bemerkung ganz abseits des heutigen Tagesgeschäfts hier in Brüssel im NATO-Hauptquartier. Heute Abend spielt Deutschland gegen Schottland zur Eröffnung der Fußball-Europameisterschaft. Als glühender Fußballfreund, Fußballanhänger freue ich mich natürlich darauf und drücke unserer Nationalmannschaft von Herzen die Daumen und freue mich auf ein deutliches, sicher erspieltes 3:1 gegen Schottland heute Abend.
Sie haben anfangs...
Können sich sicher fühlen in den nächsten Jahren. Das kostet Geld. Wie blicken Sie da auf den Haushalt der Bundesregierung und auch den Nachtragshaushalt, der gestern möglicherweise ins Spiel gebracht wurde?
Der Nachtragshaushalt spielt zunächst mal für mich keine vorrangige Rolle, soweit es nicht um weitere Mittel für die Ukraine geht. Ansonsten laufen die Haushaltsberatungen. Wir werden, daran habe ich keinen Zweifel, einen zufriedenstellenden Haushaltsabschluss im Kabinett finden Anfang Juli und dann geht's weiter.
Sie haben anfangs die NATO-geführte Struktur zur Unterstützung der Ukraine erwähnt. Was ist der Mehrwert einer solchen NATO-geführten Struktur oder geht es einfach nur darum, dass die militärische Unterstützung Trump sicher zu machen?
Also es geht darum, dass wir, ich glaube, den nächsten Level erreichen müssen. Und das bedeutet, dass die NATO-Partner noch enger zusammenrücken müssen in der Art, wie sie unterstützen, dass das koordinierter passiert. Das Ziel hat dieses Ziel ist damit verbunden. Darum geht es im Kern. Es geht auch um neue Finanzierungsquellen. Darüber berät ja gerade der G7-Gipfel. Aber hier geht es darum, was können wir inhaltlich verbessern, damit die Unterstützung in Form von Lieferung und Ausbildung noch koordinierter und damit für die Ukraine noch nützlicher ablaufen kann.
Zur Verteidigung der Ostflanke gehört auch die Luftabwehr, bei der es große Lücken gibt. Ist das Mut zur Lücke oder ein großes Problem?
Mut zur Lücke ist in diesem Zusammenhang, glaube ich, die falsche Formulierung, wenn ich das so sagen darf. Wir haben Lücken, das ist kein Geheimnis. Die sind gewachsen in 30 Jahren, in denen Luftverteidigung keine Rolle gespielt hat. Die schließen wir gerade, aber naturgemäß braucht das ein bisschen Zeit. Und gleichzeitig unterstützen wir die Ukraine und diesen Spagat bewältigen wir gerade.
President Biden said yesterday that he believes that 5 Patriot systems have now been identified that can go to Ukraine quickly. Are you confident as head of this capability coalition that you've got 5 Patriots ready to go to Ukraine?
If the American president is confident and optimistic, then I am too.
But you're in charge.
Well, but I'm in charge. We delivered, we provided already 3 Patriot systems. We are not in charge for doing more in this issue. Others are, and so I'm very confident they will.
And did you hear promises yesterday, pledges for maybe parts for the Netherlands coalition that mean that it's
We are discussing all that, and we had a discussion yesterday morning, and so we are waiting for the results.
Die nukleare Planung, wenn Ungarn die Möglichkeit hat für ein Opt-out bei der Ukraine-Unterstützung, was macht Sie so sicher, dass da nicht eines Tages andere Bündnispartner folgen möchten?
Es gibt keine Sicherheit in einer solchen Frage. Die entscheidende Frage ist, wie gewährleisten wir unsere Geschlossenheit, indem wir überzeugende Arbeit leisten und auch diejenigen in den Reihen halten, im Boot halten, die gelegentlich Zweifel haben.
Am Rande des Treffens trifft sich heute auch die nukleare Planungsgruppe. Putin droht weiterhin, auch mit atomarer Eskalation. Für wie groß halten Sie die Gefahr?
Putin droht immer. Mal droht er, mal spricht er davon, dass er nie die Absicht habe, jemanden anzugreifen. Er macht das jeden Tag anders. Das ist seine Art, diesen hybriden Krieg zu führen. Mal droht er, mal lockt er, mal zeigt er sich irritiert, dann wieder aggressiv. Wir müssen uns daran gewöhnen, dass er so agiert und damit umgehen, glaube ich. Umgehen lernen die einen oder anderen auch. Wir dürfen uns nicht von jeder Äußerung von ihm ins Boxhorn jagen lassen. Wir müssen unseren Kurs fahren, wir müssen unsere Abschreckung gewährleisten. Wir müssen klar bleiben und in unserer Unterstützung, aber auch in unserer eigenen Fähigkeit, uns zu verteidigen und abzuschrecken. Alles andere sind Geplänkel.
Vielen Dank. Schönen Tag noch.
Dankeschön.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. So today we have important meetings. Today we focus, of course, on defense and deterrence of NATO. NATO has proven to be the most efficient, most successful alliance. It has also proven it's able to adjust also to the new challenges. And of course, the most existential challenge and threat is Russia. We've seen that we are investing also considerably in our military, in our armed forces. We see that also a number of those countries have increased. Latvia also considers it's very important that we invest in military. There should be a political will, there should be financial investment. And Latvia already this year will be reaching 3% for military expenditure from GDP. And of course we are building our capabilities. We are building also Baltic defense line, including in Latvia. So it's counter mobility measures on the border so that we can defend every inch of NATO territory. Last but not least, of course, we are also in developing our capabilities, very much consider moving forward with air defense system. So it's a challenge and it's a task for whole NATO. Of course, we discuss here rotational model of air defense. So it's not only about the ground-based air defense systems, but also, of course, on potentially fighter jets. So there are also different solutions how we can move forward with strengthening air defense. And air defense has proven in Ukraine it is extremely important to protect civilian infrastructure and lives, and of course also military infrastructure.
NATO structure for military support to Ukraine. What is it added value, or did you just do it to make military support to Ukraine Trump-proof?
Well, I think that, of course, there are several, as we discussed yesterday, there are several platforms how we support Ukraine. Of course, NATO does its homework and does its also the support for supplying and supporting Ukraine. But that's why, of course, it's important also how we coordinate all those activities. But yes, I think it has been quite an important step also that we use NATO as a platform supporting Ukraine.
NATO has major gaps when it comes to defending its eastern flank from air attacks. How big is the problem actually, and how do you want to solve it?
Well, once more, air defense absolutely is crucial. So this is what we've been facing, some of the challenges. I think this is, there is certainly a realization, there is certainly an understanding of it. So yes, I mean, of course, now we have to move forward with actually the building air defense shield as well. It depends on investment, it depends on developing industry, it depends also on coordinating activities among our member states. And I think we are on the right track, but still there is a task and homework to be done.
Your Estonian colleague said, if I got him right, that you will discuss the rise of the 2% threshold. How easy you think it would be to encourage other states to rise this threshold, and how much it can be risen?
Well, I think the 2% we all decided that it is just a starting point. It's basically not a ceiling, it's a floor, so we should start with this. Of course, the Baltic countries, as I mentioned previously, we have already pretty much reached around 3% of our GDP for military spending, and we see also that there is a good trajectory, so more than 20 countries most likely will be already achieving those 3%. So that's why, of course, I mean, there is this understanding, but for us it's all the time also additionally to motivate that there are some countries which should pay more and some countries could pay less. All of us are part of NATO. There is no NATO which is somehow divided. It's one NATO. We all have the fair burden sharing, and in this case, of course, we see the positive developments in this regard. There is political will, there is financial investments, but of course we should remind about our necessities, about our tasks, about our own homework, what should be done permanently. I think what we do together with our Baltic partners as well, with Estonia and Lithuania.
You mentioned you're all one NATO, but what do you make of the moves from Hungary this week? They'll get these opt-outs. Do you think that's fair?
Well, we see that, of course, there are 32 countries, and some of the countries sometimes have a bit diverging views. But on a sort of the biggest issues, on a strategic issue, still I see that there is a consensus. Yes, sometimes we diverge specific steps, but that's why again we are a community of like-minded, community at the same time of the democratic countries. So, of course, a mutual motivation, mutual encouragement, mutual reminder of the gravity of the whole situation, the challenges we face, and also the importance of doing the homework. Of course, it is a permanent process. It's an ongoing process. Thank you so much. Yes, have a nice day. Thank you.
Hi, good morning to you all. Important day today. We are handling the NATO's defense and deterrence. We are seeing that Russia is posing a real threat towards NATO allies in the long term, and that's why I'm happy to see that the NATO is now stronger than ever, and we are even taking further steps to strengthen the NATO's defense and deterrence. From a Finnish perspective, as a new NATO ally, and we have a half of the NATO-Russia border, we are happy to see that the NATO is taking a really strong stance on the defense and deterrence, and also the Finnish perspective about our integration into the NATO. We are on the right track now, and also the new northern part of the NATO alliance is being covered in the new decisions, which we are on the right track now going on forward. That's why in Finnish perspective we are quite happy on the progress what we have taken now. I hope that today will be in a good results. Thank you.
Minister, I understand you've asked for forward forces from NATO on Finnish territory. What would be the configuration of this forces?
Yeah, we have proposed kind of a tailored FLF model for Finland that concerning the security situation, we can kind of scale up the NATO forces inside Finland, and we think that these are also on the right track now.
You changed your mind on this. You used to say ahead of membership that you didn't expect forces
we
on
were
territory.
assessing that about 9 months ago and last winter, and we were kind of assessing what kind of model should be, because in Finland we have a strong own military. We have almost 900,000 conscripts, trained soldiers in Finland, but still we need some kind of a NATO presence in all the circumstances what can come. And that's why we propose this kind of tailored FLF model and also this sub-command to land component warfare. And those are on the right track now. We are really.
Is it confirmed you'll get a land headquarters?
We will see at the end of the day, but we are quite happy to see that the kind of the warm reception of those proposals.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Audio circuit for the Reuters live service. This is the primary audio circuit for the Reuters live service. This is the primary audio circuit for the Reuters live service. This is the primary audio circuit for the Reuters live service. This is the primary audio circuit for the Reuters live service. This is the primary audio circuit for the Reuters live service.
Ed è delizia ogni giorno. Giocavo davanti a lui in ogni istante. Giocavo sull'uovo terrestre, ponendo le mie delizie tra i figli dell'uomo. Il libro dei Proverbi dice questo. Ricordatelo, quando riuscite a far sgorgare sorrisi intelligenti dalle labbra anche di un solo spettatore, questo che dirò adesso non è eresia. Quando voi riuscite a far sgorgare sorrisi intelligenti dalle labbra anche di un solo spettatore, fate sorridere anche a Dio. Voi, cari artisti, sapete pensare e parlare umoristicamente in diverse forme e diversi stili. In ogni caso, il linguaggio dello humor è adatto per comprendere e per sentire la natura umana. L'umorismo non offende, non umilia, non inchioda le persone ai loro difetti. Mentre oggi la comunicazione genera spesso contrapposizioni, voi sapete mettere insieme realtà differenti e a volte anche contrarie. Quanto abbiamo bisogno di imparare da voi. La risata dell'umorismo non è mai contro qualcuno, ma sempre è inclusiva, propositiva, suscita apertura, simpatia, empatia. Mi raccomando, pregate il Signore e chiedete il senso dell'umorismo. E vi faranno arrivare quella bella preghiera di San Thomas More. Mi viene in mente quel racconto del libro della Genesi, quando Dio promette ad Abramo che di là a un anno avrebbe avuto
So then, dear friends, if you find your seats, we can start this meeting. Good morning to all of you, and welcome. And if you all now sit down, especially those who are on those back seats, have to be quiet and sit down. Thank you so much. Welcome. Our session this morning will focus on our deterrence and defense agenda as we prepare the summit in Washington, D.C. next month. We will discuss our progress on ensuring that our defense plans are solid and ready to be executed. We will address defense industrial production to ensure delivery of the critical capabilities needed, both for our own defense and to continue to support Ukraine. This morning, we will also finalize the plan for NATO security assistance and training for Ukraine. This concludes the public part of the meeting. I thank the media for joining us at the top of the meeting.
好朋友们，你也有睡眠困扰吗？推荐您太阳星全效克菲尔益生菌，帮助您睡得好，美丽更加分。即日起至6月30日，3入组限量送随行果汁机1入，送完为止。更可搭配快点购618狂欢年中庆，全场消费满1000就送100，最高回馈618元，现在买最划算。再加100元就能够超值加购中天文创经典商品。一起来快点购线上欢庆，享受绝佳购物经验吧！